Hello, we're here at Titchfield Haven, also known I believe as Meon Beach. We're just up from Hillhead, which is near Fareham in Hampshire. I used to windsurf here a lot, but I'm just a visitor on this occasion. But this seems to be a very popular spot for people wing foiling. At the minute it's high tide here and we've got about a force 3 to 4, maybe 12 to 15 knots, which is just about right on a 5-1 wing. It's pretty flat, there's a little bit of a ripple breaking over the bar here that you can kind of get a little ride on, but generally this is sort of flat water foiling. It's a bit choppy at the minute, but it's not a bad spot for people to learn the sport. It's relatively safe. We've got a long coast here that goes all the way down to Gosport, so you've got that safety provision should you drift downwind. You're not going to come to any harm. It's also a very sort of frequented sailing area, so there's always people that can help you out should you get into any trouble. And also a big crew of people that are going to keep an eye on you. So I encourage anyone who wants to get into it, who lives in Hampshire, to come down to this area, to Hillhead, to Meon, to give wing foiling a go. It's a very new, well, relatively new sport, and it's becoming ever more popular because the foil is very efficient. Once you get lift, you need very little wind to keep you moving. You go to the board. I've got an Ensis Rock and Roll. There's a bit of a theme here with the Ensis products. Rock and Roll 97. A lot of people say that's quite a big board for my body weight and the fact that I'm kind of like an intermediate level, but I find it's just easier. It means I can get up quickly. I've got that freedom to try moves and crash and get back up without the hassle of having a board that sinks. I'm riding this currently without foot straps. I do a lot of stuff windsurfing with straps on, a lot of jumps and loops, and I can't really compromise my ankles because that's still my go-to sport. This is a bit of a light wind alternative, but people do wing with straps and a lot of people like it and don't like going strapless, but to me I'd rather focus on just cruising and catching some waves. And this is the foil, so front wing on here, it's a bit of a mess because I like to hit the bottom, but it's an XLT, so it says it's a 1550 centimetre projected area. I don't really know a lot about the science to it, but it's relatively big. I like a lot of lift. I can't be faffing around on the pad or pumping too much. I'm too old for that. And then I've got an XL stab, which is a fluid. That's a fluid from Gong. They're relatively inexpensive foils. I should have kept the trend and stuck with an Ensis all the way around, but I ran out of money. So I'd love to have a better foil, i.e. in terms of it being lighter, stiffer. However, I don't have an indefinite amount of money, and I found that the gong kit I've learned on this stuff, it was really inexpensive, and it certainly hasn't held me back learning the majority of stuff. It's not going to win you any races against the full carbon kit, but it's not about racing for me, it's just about going out and having fun in light winds. And despite it being relatively heavy, mostly the mast and the fuselage, it keeps it in the water, means it doesn't turn turtle and put a hole in my wing. So there's always an advantage to having slightly heavier wings when you're learning. The board turning turtle and catching the wing is going to cost you a lot of money, and as an intermediate beginner and you're still trying stuff, there is actually an advantage of having a slightly heavier foil which stays underwater.
If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.